My beautiful podcast listeners, marriage or your romantic relationship, it can be a doozy. Postpartum. My goodness. I think to this day, as I look back on having all 4 of my kids, each time postpartum was challenging in its own unique ways. But the one thing that was challenging every single time, very challenging every single time, was navigating my relationship with my husband as it ebbed and flowed and changed so much, as my needs changed so much, as new issues in our relationship would be shown to us during a time of intense needing each other, leaning on each other deeply as we, brought this new baby into our family and got settled, a time of transition. So in today's episode, we are going to love on this topic. We're going to love on it, and we're going to be really real and dive into what exactly is it that makes, whether you're married or not, that makes your relationship with your partner so hard during postpartum as you're adjusting to new baby being part of your family. It doesn't matter if it's your first baby, third, fourth, or more, second baby, whatever, all of it, twins. We're going to talk about the things that make it hard. And then for each one of the things we're going to talk about, we're also going to share things that'll make them easier. And I do have some experience in this, so I hope it helps you. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Postpartum Coach podcast, where we embrace our needs as moms. We learn to lead ourselves first, then our families, and where we create our own healing from the inside out to find our way to the work we were meant to do in this world. I'm your host, a fellow mom of 3 and a certified life coach, Lizzie Langston.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Postpartum Coach podcast. We are recording here in my office. I am Lizzie Langston. If you've never met me or heard of me, I have 4 children. And in this video today, or podcast episode, if you're just listening to the Postpartum Coach podcast, we're going to be diving into marriage postpartum or your romantic relationship with your partner postpartum. Let me tell you, so like I said, I've had 4 children. It is always hard. It's always hard. It's always hard. So I know how hard it is, and I know the ways that it's hard. And while there could be nuance here between me and you and all the people out there, there are a lot of similarities. Before I dive into this, I just wanted to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart that leaves reviews on the Postpartum Coach podcast. If you haven't, I would so love it if you left a written review on Apple Podcasts, because it helps more women be shown this podcast, which of course is such a blessing because postpartum is hard. And this is a free, amazing resource. So thank you so much for doing that if you have, and please do that if you haven't yet. And then the last thing I want to tell you before we dive in today, it's like a couple of housekeeping things. If you follow me, if you're interested in working with me, if you are wanting to know more, here's a couple of things. The first thing is I have historically offered free consultations since the beginning of my business, but it's been almost 5 years, and the demand for my services has grown significantly. So here's what we're going to do is starting in January 2024, we're going to be offering consultations here at the Postpartum Coach, but it'll be $97 for 45 minutes. Okay, to talk to someone, whether it's me or one of the most beautiful coaches that I might hire and have help me here and stand next to me in supporting you. And I will vet them extremely beautifully and carefully for you guys. So it's going to be $97 to speak with a postpartum coach, approved postpartum coach for you. Okay, that's the first thing. So if you've ever wanted to refer somebody to me for some private coaching, if you have ever wanted to invest with me, you might want to take up on the free consult that is available, because starting in January 2024, the consultations will be $97 instead of free. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I have a group coaching membership that is postpartum specific and postpartum designed coming to you guys. And I could not be more thrilled and excited. I've tried a membership before, and you know how when you try and fail things, you really learn clearly what doesn't work and what does work, what it doesn't need and what it does need. So I am here so loud and clear about what this membership is going to be. I am like perfectly crystal clear, and I cannot wait for you to experience it to be in the presence of other high quality women who are trying to self-lead and do their work. And that's a mosquito. I got it, guys. I got the mosquito. Yay. It won't bite my ankles while I'm on this video. Or podcast, whatever. So, yeah, we're going to be diving deep. It's going to be 4 calls every month. A couple of them will be coaching, and I don't really want to tell you yet what the other ones are going to be, but it's exactly what a postpartum mom needs. I haven't seen any of this stuff anywhere. And here's why I'm telling you now is because starting in January 2024, we're going to be doing a founding members launch where you'll be able to come into the membership at a lower rate than it will ever be offered again as a thank you for being one of the first women to come in. And then we'll get rolling. And then, of course, it'll be open to everyone forever at its regular prices. It's going to be in the $200 to $400 price range. So again, mark your calendars, come back here in January, get on LizzieLangston.com, get on my email list, get one of my freebies. I have such good freebies. I've got a meditation, a free mini course. I'm creating a text message series for postpartum women because sometimes we don't check our email, especially when we're postpartum, maternity leave. We're kind of checked out of the regular world. So I'm going to text you for 14 days and hook you up with some of my best teaching. So you don't want to miss when I announce that stuff. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and make sure you are on the email list. Again, to get on the email list, go to LizzieLangston.com. Okay, so that's the housekeeping. We've got consultations are going to be $97 instead of free starting in January 2024. We are going to have a group coaching membership happening here. And I'm just so thrilled about that. And a text message series is coming for you. So be ready, get on my email list. Thank you. Okay. Marriage postpartum. Whoa. Have you guys ever heard of swig? If you're watching me on video, I'm taking a drink of my swig. My teeth are sensitive, so it's really cold, but swig is a soda shop that I really enjoy. Let's talk about the 3 reasons, I might have 4 maybe, why marriage postpartum is so damn hard. So the first reason and way it's hard, and then we're going to talk about solutions and what you can do about it. I'm going to say like coachy things and also just mentor things from having lived it as a mom and woman and wife. So the first reason it's hard is because your marriage, I'm going to just keep saying marriage, but if you're not married, I do not shame you. I love you. And just know that I just mean your relationship. Okay. But I am married. And so my brain thinks that way. Your marriage will feel different. There are going to be beautiful moments. Of course, it's going to bring you closer. Of course it will. And you're going to feel miles apart in some moments too. Why is that? Is because your needs are different. Postpartum is an extremely feminine time. So not just physically, physiologically, hormones, brain, but also on a spiritual level, you're experiencing a huge flow in your energetic body of feminine energy. A lot of women, the theory is in Eastern philosophy that when you give birth through the root chakra, which is your vaginal canal, it's your root, or even if you have a C-section through your sacral chakra, that it energetically kind of like makes things intense for a while in a good way, but you get a burst of feminine energy because there's this energy called Kundalini energy that's feminine, that's at the root of your spine. And it can kind of get released when you birth a baby through. And so you can end up with a lot more feminine energy. And we live in a typically pretty masculinized world. And most of us women are living in our heads. We're kind of obsessed with our to-do list and our efficiency. We kind of are getting our self-worth from the way that we are in our motherhood and all the things that we're getting done. Those are all very masculine values. At work, we kind of get praise for, again, being productive and not being emotional and staying on task and problem solving. Those are all great qualities and they're all masculine. The feminine is more cyclical, more flowy. It's emotional. It's the subtle energies. It is leaning back and listening and thinking deeply instead of always just having an answer quick on your feet. And emotional. And so when you have a lot more feminine energy and you're used to operating in more masculine energy, it can be really like disorienting and you can show up very differently in your close, intimate, romantic relationship, and your partner's going to notice that, and it's going to create possibly some insecurity for you. So what you can do with this challenge is definitely, obviously get educated. Get educated about what's happening in your hormones as much as you can. I know you don't need to go get a PhD on what happens to a woman's body postpartum, but when you're at your midwife's office or your OB's office, ask them like, okay, so what are some of the typical things that are happening in my body postpartum? And like, what are some of the common occurrences you see? So get a little bit of education. Maybe you read a book on the postpartum woman's body or whatever, listen to a podcast on it that dives deep. And then also it's going to help you to better understand the masculine and the feminine and the way they're different and the ways they're the same. If you sign up for my free text series, you're going to get that. I'm going to talk about it towards the end of the 14 days. We're going to be talking together in really quick bite-sized ways. I'm going to be introducing you a little bit more to getting to know what the feminine is, how you can notice it in yourself, and how it's different from the masculine that you might have been living more in before having a baby, and how you can explain that to your partner, and how you can also have compassion on yourself. And that's the last thing I want to say when it comes to like, oh my gosh, everything's feeling so different postpartum. Your biggest skill that will give you the most cushion and resilience against the difficulty and the intensity of how different things feel in your marriage or in your relationship postpartum is going to be self-compassion. And it is the number one thing and the very first thing. Always that I work on with my clients. So again, if you do want to take advantage of one of the free consultations, if you are seriously interested in working together with me while I'm still open to private coaching here, me, Lizzie, I think I'll, anyway, whatever, then make sure you book a consult. So it's just LizzieLangston.com/consult. I would absolutely love to teach you the art of self-compassion. It is something that will change the way you talk to yourself. It will make it safer for you to be in your body. It will allow you to not be irritated when your husband or your partner is kind of disagreeing with you or criticizing you. When you know how to have self-compassion, it protects you against really big roller coaster rides with all of those things. It is such an underestimated, extremely powerful, quiet tool that you definitely want to have in your tool belt for the next decade of being in your relationship and having children and mothering them. Okay, the second thing that is challenging about having a partner and then having a baby and adding that baby into your relationship between the two of you as adults, again, whether it's your first, second, or more babies, is that emotions are high and sleep is low. And so that is just such a great recipe. I don't care how awesome you are at, managing your thoughts and processing emotions and being self-aware. If you have high emotions and low sleep, it will be a challenge for you. It just will. And I think when it comes to the high emotions, I'm specifically talking about what I hear a lot of women telling me on consultations and as my clients, and what I've also experienced is there's a lot of grief postpartum. We underestimate this. We don't realize that we can be grateful and happy that we have a new baby, and we can be sad and miss our old life all at the same time. And just because you're sad and you miss your old life doesn't mean you're not totally grateful and thrilled and happy that this baby is here safely in your arms. And so we don't consider grief because when we think about, being married or being with your partner and having a new baby, we assume it's just going to be really happy. But you are happy, but you have grief too because things are so different. And so, again, one of the tools for that is going to be giving yourself grace and self-compassion. Also knowing and feeling, this is just a mentor, from someone who's lived it, the timing. And this takes some years maybe to hone, but I know when I'm really hurting because my husband just said something that really hurt my feelings, or I felt like he was insensitive, or he's just not seeing me. He's just kind of missing my needs. And we just feel like ships passing in the night and we're just not connecting and things aren't feeling good. And I want to talk to him right then because I don't want to feel this feeling. So I want to talk to him. But what I've learned over time, and he's a projector in human design, so I don't know if that means anything, but I do notice that it's better to do it, number one, when the kids aren't around and we can be uninterrupted. And number two, when we're a little bit more rested and we have some alone time or something, And so I just want to encourage you to consider, even when you're really bugged, is that the best time to bring up something that needs to be talked about? Maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not, but consider, could it be better to talk about it after you have a nap, after you've eaten, after you've scrolled Instagram and turned your brain off for a while, cuddled your baby and snuggled, whatever, etc. And then also when emotions are high and sleep is low, the question is, do you have enough support for you? And specifically, I'm not just talking about your partner. A lot of times we kind of over glorify this idea of like just doing it ourselves and look at how strong we are in our partnership together. Like, look how well we delegate. And the reality is oftentimes it's just too much to put it all on your partner. Your mental health, your physical health, like we need to delegate and bring in other support, whether it's paid or whether it's friends or whatever it is. And so my question for you is, do you have enough support around you right now postpartum? And specifically in your life, do you have feminine support? Because whether you're newly postpartum or you're still struggling with things that started postpartum or kind of came up postpartum, women need women. And why is that? It's because women need people and providers that understand the feminine and that experience and live in the feminine. Men experience and live in feminine too. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, but you need feminine understanding and feminine feeling support. So that is something that I just want to ask you. And that's also one thing I get really, 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 really passionate about. And is why I'm creating my group coaching program, which is coming in January, the founding members launch, January 2024. The postpartum coach membership is because we receive, we release and receive, but we release so much when we are around other women who get it and who are also going through it. Women need women postpartum. And even if you're a strong, independent woman, when you're birthing the feminine, when you're in a place of the feminine and that's new for you, let us help you. It's okay to lean back. The feminine is receiving. The masculine is giving, right? Think about actually like sex, the act of sex. The feminine is receiving, the masculine gives. And so just think about that in life as well. And it might be new for you, mama, to receive, but that is the way of the feminine. And you can get better at it. And I want your daughters to see you know how to just receive a compliment. How many of us receive a compliment and we're like, oh, no, thanks. Or, oh, you too. Like, we don't know how to just be like, thank you. Thank you. I received that. Right? Thank you. I received that. Thank you. Or if somebody comes by your house and brings you a meal, oh my gosh, let me write them a thank you note, or let me go drop them off a meal. I'm not against thank you notes. I'm not against reciprocity, but can you also just take a moment to really receive the community that's gathering around you, to receive the food and not feel the impulse to give, right? That is us being in our feminine. And so I invite you to come into the Postpartum Coach membership, come on a private coaching consultation, receive the feminine, receive your own feminine and support. Okay, and then the last one, I think this is number 3, right? Yeah. This is the trickiest one, I think, is that I really mean this. It can be very tricky. And I say this after going through a lot of therapy and doing internal family systems, which is parts therapy, which is what I do, very therapeutic coaching work with my clients. And so that's something I do as well. And we will be doing that in the group coaching program too. But attachment issues. So if you have any rocky spots in your ability to see yourself how you really are, be honest with yourself, and then let your spouse or your partner see those vulnerable, maybe shadowy, dark parts of you. If you have anything you've been hiding from yourself or hiding from your partner in your marriage or your relationship, it is like 90% likely that it will come up postpartum, The example I like to talk about is, how during COVID, everyone was in quarantine, at least at some point, and we heard that there started to be a lot of divorces happening, but then there were also a lot of families that were together for the first time. But specifically when it comes to, I'm not trying to say you're going to get divorced because postpartum is bringing up stuff, but postpartum can be a lot like quarantine in the sense that everything's different than it normally is. We're taking a break from our typical life routine. Maybe we're on maternity leave. Maybe our partner's on paternity leave or maternity leave, whatever it is that's going on. And it's just different. And we have this huge time of transition, so many different factors. We might even be like nursing with leaky boobs. Like we have a whole new body function. Can you imagine? Like we have a whole new body function happening a lot of times if you're nursing. Anyway, but yeah, the nature of postpartum is that a lot of things that normally are going stop, and then a lot of things that normally aren't going turn on or go. And that can really highlight kind of weak spots in the marriage relationship. I remember this. I really do. I'm just taking a moment. Actually, before I hopped on to record today, I took a moment and I was reflecting just with my eyes closed. I was just reflecting with Lizzie. I only had my baby. She's going to be 6 months. Okay. So it was only like 5 months ago that I was sitting in the rocking chair, totally sleep deprived, dark circles under my eyes. My hair was just like probably greasy and messy. Don't remember the last time I put makeup on. I think my underwear are clean. I'm pretty sure the other kids got fed. Definitely know I forgot to thank somebody for something they just dropped off. Like, haven't talked to my friends in a while. Devastated and sad about that, but also have my hands freaking full. And just being so peeved or just sad that my husband wasn't like getting it or hearing me or feeling totally frozen and paralyzed. My nervous system just jarred and I just can't ask for help because I'm frozen, right? That's another part of the complications is your nervous system can just get jammed with overstimulation and scary moments during birth that just like have you in a state of alarm. And now you're not acting like yourself in your marriage. And your partner is just like, what the hell? When really you both need a ton of compassion. So come get on a coaching consult with me. If you want to do that, if you are ready for really supportive private coaching, come join us in the program. Get in the founding members launch in January 2024. But listen, you are worthy of kindness, love, and patience during this time. And the last thing I want to say when it comes to like the really painful challenges with your marriage postpartum is that postpartum really is, and it can totally be a portal to the best parts of you. It can suck out and bring to the surface the best parts of you. But first, I'm not going to say the worst parts of you, but the wounded parts of you are going to need to be seen, witnessed, and loved on first. Okay? So I promise you, the vision of the mother you want to become, postpartum can catapult you into her, but you have to be willing to stop and tend to the wounding, to the triggers, to the toxic patterns. And they're in the marriage, they're in the way we speak to ourselves or others. Come get help with me. I can help you. I love doing it. I'm exceptionally amazing at it. It is my gift. I was woken up this morning. It was still dark outside, and the Macklemore, my spiritual guides wake me up often in the middle of the night just for a quick like shoot of inspiration. I write something down, I go back to sleep. Or sometimes it's longer and they deliver like a whole book. That's happened too. But this morning I woke up and it was Macklemore. Is that how you say it? Macklemore? Okay. And it was, that rapping part. He's like, when I leave here on this earth, did I give more than I take? Did I look out for the people? And I don't remember the rest. And that it was like, my guides were just like, look out. Like, I feel so connected to you women. Like, I might not know your names, but I literally feel a stewardship over you. And I also have met with goddesses who have come to me in my backyard. I know this sounds crazy. It's fine if you want to think I'm crazy. But if you want to believe that the spiritual can be channeled that really for people who are attuned and who do the work to like, because there's like a whole psychic side of me that I don't bring on this podcast a ton. My clients know it's there though. Goddesses, there are people, there are spirits, there are powers on all sides of this earth and parts in the veil that care about postpartum women and how they're doing. They care about you. They care about you. You have guides, you have angels. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They care about you. Yes, they do. Okay. You can't argue with it. You cannot escape from the love of this universe for you. You can't, whether you want to call it God, whether you have a religion, whether you don't, there's no escaping from the love. And I am here. My divine calling is to remind women that when they're able to release and tend to and melt self-compassion, melt the wounded parts of them with self-compassion and integrate the wounded parts of them, they are love. They will be loved. They will emanate love. They will feel love. And love is the highest vibration. It's like rose petals. It is like the best thing you ever want to feel. Duh, obviously. And so you might think you need X, Y, Z, but you probably just need love for the parts of yourself that are hurting right now. And I can help you with that. It's going to help your marriage feel better. I definitely guarantee you that. It's going to help your relationship feel better. It's going to help you break the patterns that you want to break in your motherhood. It's a fun party. You should come join. So last but not least, just to remind you, $97 for the consultation starting in January 2024. The group coaching program, the founding members launch, will be starting in January 2024. And I am open right now for free consultations for private coaching. You can go to LizzieLangston.com/consult. I love you guys. I see you. Keep going. Keep showing up. Keep trying. Keep having the conversations. Reach out for support. Okay. And we will talk to you guys next week right here on the Postpartum Coach Podcast.
Hey, Lizzie here. I've helped dozens of postpartum moms just like you to manage their postpartum anxiety and deconstruct their postpartum depression. It's really easy for me. So if you're ready to feel better, I know the way. Let's chat on the phone. Set up a time by going to LizzieLangston.com/consult. It's pretty simple, and I will be calling you soon.